All right, this is what y'all been waiting for. You ready? Yo, what's good, y'all? What's good? Hip hop is your boy Robb, Diggie in the building. Another episode of the transformation of hip hop from years 2010 to 2019. This is the fourth stop on our journey, and we're talking about one of my favorite MCs. MC is the key word. MC is the key word here, ladies and gentlemen. That is Meek Mill. And to help me along with this, of course, is the hip hop connoisseur Chuck Platinum, who's making his fifth appearance on the platform. I bring him in here in just a little bit, but I want to get out some admin notes real fast. First off, shout out to all of our followers, supporters all over the world. Let's tune in, listen in, either watching and or listening. Right now, I have on a Transformers shirt with Starscream on the front. And you want to know why that is? It's because Starscream was the lieutenant of Megatron, and Meek Mill is the lieutenant of Rick Ross. So that's the reason why I'm putting that parallel together. Anybody's wondering, like, man, Rob got on a dope Starscream shirt on. Well, first off, I love Transformers, you know what I mean? So that's just that. So it's a shout out to all of our 80s babies that, that watch Transformers, you know what I mean, on during the weekday after school. That's what I used to watch it. But yeah, that's the parallel to that. But this episode, man, I definitely want to give a quick shout out to Shot Cypher. Raw Stories is out right now. I told that brother I was going to support him, man. He got a dope project out, you guys. You'll see here, flash up the graphic and everything. Y'all go out there, go to Apple Store or wherever you get your music, Spotify, wherever it is out there. Support that brother, man. The project is dope, Shot. So thank you. He's a Diggie A2 alumni. They want to give him showing some love real quick. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in my special guest, making his fifth appearance on the Diggie A2 platform, Mr. Award-winning Producer of the Year. He's up for another award this year for Producer of the Year. Mr. Chuck Platinum is in the building. Let me bring Chuck in so you all can see him. Chuck, what's good? Say hello to the folks, man. Make sure you unmute yourself, brother, so we can hear you. Go ahead, man. Introduce yourself to the audience. What's up?
Chuck Platinum, we in the building, man. Novocaine Billionaires, we in the building with my brother Robb Diggie, man. You already know BACG Gang Be Safe album coming out April 11th, man. April 10th is our BA's listening party, man. BX Stand Up. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to the team. Shout out to my brother Prince Newkirk, who was hanging out with me, man. Uptown Nation 30th anniversary. We live here once again with my brother Robb Diggie, man, doing this Meek Mill episode, man. I'm happy to be here, and it's a blessing, brother.
Word, man. Matter of fact, it's so classy. In fact, you know what, Chuck? I had to bring out a glass of wine for this, man. I had to bring out a glass of wine. I had to get classy with.
I've been drinking Henny all morning.
Yeah, well, I ran out, so I had to go with what was in the refrigerator. You know, when you you got to go with what's in the fridge. You know what I mean? I said, you know what? This is a classic event. I'm talking to a classy gentleman here. Let me bust out the wine real quick, the Moscato. So shout out to all of our classy folks out there. You know, I usually have some hen dog with me, what I usually drink, but you know, we're gonna do a classic for Meek Mill. You know what I mean? So let's jump right into it, man. Meek Mill. Cool, all right, so here's the facts. Yes, Meek Mill, one-time Billboard Award winner, one-time BET Hip Hop Award winner. The first time I heard Meek Mill was on a song back in 2011 with him and Rick Ross called Tupac's Back. When I heard that, I was like, yo, like this is something new. This is something different I never heard of before. Then he came back later with I'm a Boss remix with Rick Ross. And then he went ahead and signed to the imprint with MMG with Maybach Music. And he released his first studio album, Dreams and Nightmares, released in October 2012. The title track, I already know what it is. Gold Release and God We Trust. Young and Getting It, Believe It with Rick Ross again. Amen with the song with him and Drake. And then, of course, Burn with Big Sean at the end of that. And then in 2015, he dropped the next album, Dreams Worth More Than Money, which was his first platinum album. The ones I picked up of there was Classic, All Eyes on You with him and Nicki Minaj, when him and Nicki was dating, when Chris Brown on there too. Rico, we're gonna come back to Rico. Rico was significant to the Meek Mill story because that's what sparked the beef between him and Drake. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Ambitions, check. And then Bad for You with Nicki Minaj, and then Stand Up. And then what happened was, he has a beef with him and Drake for a little bit. And to me, and I know Chuck knows this too, Meek Mill's dropped 11 mixtapes, but the one that I love the most is DC4. DC4 is the one that I picked out of all the mixtapes. I like when it starts out on the regular, you know how Froze it is with Uzi Vert and Nicki Minaj, and then the Tony Story, the Tony Story series number 3 is on that mixtape. And I think that the Tony Story, we'll talk about it in a little bit, was just him doing extraordinary storytelling, like really putting
Right.
the Tony Story series 1, 2, and 3, just phenomenal work for Meek Mill. And then, that's like I said, he got 11 mixtape. That's when I picked that out of the stack. Then he comes out with Wins and Losses in 2017. Title song, of course. This one, whoever the song with What You Want. Him, Chris Brown, and Ty Dolla $ign with the Tony sample, going back to those R&B days. 1942 Flows, We Ball with Young Thug, and then I think it's called Connect the Dots, which is another verse from Rick Ross. I believe that Rick Ross, when he features on Meek Mill, like he's like, yo, I'm still the captain, you're the lieutenant. Like I think Rick Ross, if he gets on a Meek Mill track, I listened to all this stuff this week. I'm like, yo, Rick Ross is just elevated he elevates the game when he does a feature. Then what happens? Right? What happens to Meek Mill after that? He goes away for a little bit. He has to sit down for about 5 months. He violated his parole, went to jail for about 5 months, comes back with Championships in November of 2018. In my opinion, Championships is Meek Mill's best album in his catalog. There's a lot of hits on there. You got Intro, you got Trauma, which was the sample from the Mobb Deep song on Trauma. I think we have another one called Op Me. I can't read my own handwriting right now. Something Op Me, but the Cardi B verse is dope on there. What's Beef with Jay-Z and Rick Ross, which is a sample from Biggie. What's Beef? What's Free is the song. What's Beef is a sample. Respect the Game, another Jay-Z sample. Championships, the title track. Going Bad featuring Drake. 24/7 featuring LMA. I mean, Oodles, Noodles Boss, Oodles and Noodles. Baddies, Dangerous, and then Cold Heated 2, which he drops a line, Derrick Rose on a 50-point night. I mean, Meek Mill, man, like this dude. Yeah, this dude is the truth, man. So that's all I got in regards to the facts. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the platform, Mr. Chuck Platinum, the hip hop connoisseur. And Chuck, how do I want to start this, man? Like, I'm thinking, like, when you think about Meek Mill, man, like how do you feel the first time you heard about Meek Mill? And then talk to me about his early career. Like, what are some of the early songs that resonate with you when you first heard Meek?
For me, like you said exactly what it was. For me, it was the Tupac back. I started getting tuned to Meek Mill. I wasn't really familiar with him because I'm a Rick Ross fan. So I wasn't really, to be very honest with you, I wasn't familiar with him from, I'm not going to sit here and cap and say, I was going back to the Flamers days. Nah, that wasn't my time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, I'm sure for his hardcore Philly fans, that was something that was revered at that time. But for me, it was I'm a Boss and Tupac back, and just hearing him as an artist and like learning his story. Really was captivating about Meek Mill. He had a different type of voice. His voice was different. It was pretty kind of high tone. Yeah. But he was spitting and he was confident about what he was saying. Yeah. And I just really loved his cadence, and I loved how he would go over those Jaleel beats. You know what I'm saying? And his earlier catalog. So Meek Mill to me is one of the greatest, one of the young spitters. He's definitely up there with Drake. He's definitely up there with all the J. Coles and the Drakes and all of that. He needs to be celebrated just like that. I'm an avid Meek Mill fan. I think he's a dope person, dope human being, what he does in the community.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
How he is with his children, and just a person who he is. I love watching his interviews. So yeah, I'm actually very proud to be a part of this, because just like I love Rick Ross, I love Meek Mill, yo. Meek Mill is dope. He's a dope artist.
I remember we're hearing Tupac back. Tupac back. I'm 2 Glock strapped, running out in Philly. It's the new Iraq. I was like, yo, that was so mean. I was like, yo, that was so mean.
And he was young. He was young, 20s, like early 20s type shit. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. But yeah, he was young and spitting like that. Like he was crazy. Like dope. Yeah, like dope, crazy,
like, man. Like I remember, like to your point, Chuck. Like I think about Rick Ross and how he kind of molded. I want to say he was with a different camp before that. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But then he joined MMG, and then it really took him, to the higher
Triple
heights.
C's.
Yeah. Okay.
Triple C's.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Rick Ross. Yeah. Oh no, not Meek Mill. That was Rick Ross. I'm sorry. But yeah, Meek Mill was like part with you know, he was kind of with what's my man Gilly and all of them too. You know what I'm saying? Like he was rocking out with them, but nah, he definitely I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So talk to me, Chuck, about Dreams and Nightmares for a minute. So, you know, when we go back and we think about all the great hip hop albums of all time, all hip hop albums that are great start out with a dope ass, you know, title track or intro track. Dreams and Nightmares is probably in the top 10 of all time, but just that song, how it starts out slow and then he picks it up. Like I've never really heard anything like that or nothing like that since. So talk to me about that when you heard Dreams and Nightmares for the first time. Those y'all gonna have any context about that? It's one of Meek Mill's signature songs, what I would say. So let me get your opinion about that, Chuck, about Dreams and Nightmares, the track itself.
Absolutely. That track right there, Dreams and Nightmares, was like the beginning of a series of things that he had continued on later in his career. The build up, you know what I'm saying? It was just like the build up. Watching him in his shows is something that he's, you know, like I said, he's definitely revered on. You know, just kind of like it was. I remember hearing that album because I was waiting for that album after hearing his mixtapes. I think he was up to DC3 at that point by the time he came out with you know, the Dreams and Nightmares. So we was waiting for that. And for me, it sounded exactly what I would expect it from a debut album. It was dope. He was, you know, he sounded hungry. And that intro, that was hunger. That was hunger. That was really like, I will chew your head off type shit. And that's why I fuck with Meek Mill, because his confidence is on 100. I love his confidence. His confidence alone makes me listen to his music.
Yeah, and the reason why I chose Starscream for this shirt, if anybody knows the story of the Transformers cartoon series, Starscream was another confident dude, right? Just confident, always trying to take over the throne and stuff like that. And Meek Mill's hunger, it's like, it reminds me of Starscream. It reminds me of this guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, like I wanted to just put something out for the episode this week. I was thinking about Meek Mill, and I was like, you know, looking in my closet, I was like, yo, that's it. That's the shirt I got to put on to represent Meek Mill, because he was so confident and like he was so hungry. And when you hear his pain and his stories and like as he got better as an MC. Now, mind you, I did in the very beginning of this, you guys, I said that he was an MC. And I think there's a difference between being a rapper and being an MC. And Meek Mill, you know, during that time in the 20 teens, like really carved his own lane. Like he didn't really follow someone else's formula. He kind of carved his own path. And that brings me to his next album, his only platinum album, or first platinum album, I'm sorry. Dreams Worth More Than Money, released in June of 2015. So that one had All Eyes on You. He was dating, you know, Nicki Minaj and Chris Brown. And one of the things that kind of brought him some attention was the song he did with Drake called Rico. Now, the reason why that's significant to Meek Mill's story, ladies and gentlemen, is because when he calls out Drake on Rico, he calls him out because he said that Drake was ghostwriting or didn't write his own lyrics. And that, of course, sparked a controversy between the beef of Meek Mill and Drake. So if I remember correctly, Chuck, okay, Drake comes out with Charged Up, right? Just kind of just throwing it out there. You know how we do it. We throw a little stuff out there. Meek Mill doesn't respond. So what does Drake do? He brings out back to back, like 3 or 4 days later. It's just like... And I think he just like bodies, like really bodies the beef. Like, I mean, even though, you know, Meek Mill came back with I Want to Know, I think it was too late. Like he already dropped 2 bombs on him back to back, and it was kind of hard. He definitely did. But talk to me about your experience, Chuck. What was your, you know, your opinion about the beef between him and Drake?
Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you know, I'm always talking as a hip hop fan. You know what I'm saying? Drake definitely outsmarted him on that. You know what I'm saying? Like he definitely did that just with the lines and back to back. Just with the, you know what I'm saying? Like how he approached him, it was on some classy. So the fact that Meek Mill didn't really respond in time, that really kind of like made me question him, you know what I'm saying, as far as on that battle scale, because I'm like, when I go back to your old stuff, you was a wolf out there. So what made Drake different? You know what I'm saying? And why was this young man able to outsmart you like that? And do what you do, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, he got the redemption back with a dope album with championship. But when you got in with Drake, I always question as to why didn't you go at Drake? Because Drake is, I think Drake is dope, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think Meek Mill could have took him. Pause, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he could have definitely took him, like, as far as on some battle shit, and it could have been fun, and y'all could have still made up and still made that song that y'all made. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a dope effort.
Yeah, no question.
But it just, to me, it didn't seem kind of real to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like Drake was testing you, and you didn't even jump in the pool with that.
Yeah, man, it makes it so bugged, right? Like, Meek Mill comes from a battle rap background. That's how he got into hip-hop.
Exactly.
Like, so it goes right into your point. Like, if you're a battle rapper, someone's coming at you, and to me, I think when you shooting darts at at the great ones, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that Drake is the greatest, but right now, probably for the past 10 years, I don't think
he been running shit.
Yeah, I mean, no one's touching Drake, man. I'm
nobody,
sorry.
Not even Meek Mill. I'm sorry that he's on his own podcast, but we here to be honest, right?
Yeah. We gotta be honest with the audience. We gotta be honest. You gotta be honest.
Drake is smashing everybody right now. You know what I'm saying?
Drake,
like, Hove, all of them. Drake
I
is
agree.
smashing everybody. You know what I'm saying? Drake is that nigga. Excuse me.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
No, I agree. He's
you know what I'm saying?
He's taking facts.
Yeah, like Drake is that dude. Like, that fucking album, the last album that Drake released, you know what I'm saying? That was fire. And I'm not going against Meek Mill, but I'm just saying, like, the championship was a vibe, but Drake knows how to make some crazy music. You know what I'm saying? And
he does.
You know what I mean? So, you know, and in that essence, he did get Meek Mill in that battle. You know what I'm saying? Whether people want to admit it or not, I'm a hip hop connoisseur, so I'm gonna tell the truth. But at the end of the day, it doesn't stop Meek Mill from making incredible music and me listening to his music.
Absolutely. So let's bring you to my next point. Let's fast forward to 2018. Actually, let's go back here, 2017. Meek Mill has to go sit down for a little bit. He got to go sit down for a little bit and do his bid.
Right.
He had help, from everybody. I see free Meek shirts, and everybody want to get Meek Mill out of jail. So shout out to Meek Mill for keeping his head up, during this time being shut down. But when he comes out of jail, when he comes out, Chuck, he makes Championships, which is an exceptional album. Exceptional. I don't use that word a lot. It's an exceptional album. His best body of work. It goes platinum.
Yes.
And I want to talk to you, Chuck, about one. First off, you mentioned a little bit earlier before we started taping about what Meek does with the community. Talk to me about his influence on justice reform. He's a big advocate about that and being big in the community because he had to sit down himself a little bit. But talk to me about what he means to justice reform and brothers that are spending time in jail and things like that. What is your opinion about that?
I have a big opinion on that. I think that is wonderful because him, since he was a teenager, being in different, situations with the system, him being able, he was an example, you know what I'm saying? Like he was used as an example. Even when he was going through the stuff with the judge and stuff like that, like they was really trying to put him under. And unfortunately for a lot of our brothers that's incarcerated, he was in a situation where he already had the juice before he went to jail. Yeah. So it allowed him the opportunity to kind of, he didn't know that these resources were coming to him, but it was just the blessings of all his hard work. Yeah. And, when he was in that situation, that was very tough being that, but, he was able to live through that because he was real in his music and he did what he had to do. And he came out and he dealt with people like Michael Rubin. You know what I'm saying? These are multi-billionaires. These are people that he didn't ask. Kevin Hart, he didn't ask these people to support him. You know what I'm saying? It's just they saw his vision of what he was going through. So it's a mixture of blessing. It's a mixture of purpose. It's a mixture of passion. And I think that taught him a lesson as well as a young entrepreneur. He was going through his own struggles. Like a lot of times I watch his stories, I watch his posts and stuff like that. And I'm really not a watcher like that. But this young brother goes through a lot, taking care of his family, dealing with people who he came up with that may have did him dirty and stuff like that. Like you got to really listen to his music. It's a lot of pain. So with and I'm sure we're going to get it. Championships was like, for me, the overcoming of that.
Yes.
And he used certain songs like the sample with Jay-Z, like, you know, the songs, all of the songs on there, because Championships is one of my favorite. I also love Expensive Pain as well.
Yeah.
I think Expensive Pain was a dope follow-up to something as great as, because it was new, it was fresh. We're not there yet, but I'm just saying, as a prelude, Championships was a wonderful album because it was well put together. You could tell that he had a lot of people believing in him, but more important, he was feeling what he had went through, and you could hear, like, I came out of that. Yeah, like, I came out of that, and this is the validation that I received because I came out of that, and you don't know what I'm going through to have to come out of that. And he opened the doors for the guys like Benny the Butcher, you know, Griselda, all of those people that have been incarcerated and could tell their story and making the music. Meek Mill was the pioneer of that. That's why I love Meek Mill.
I don't think there's anything left to be said about that, Chuck. You hit it right, the nail on the head, man. And you know, I think what he's doing and continuing to do with justice reform, you know, looking at the whole justice system as a whole, you know, and trying to figure out, and he partnered with Jay-Z as well too. What Hov got in that project also. But talk to me about the music. We're talking about Championships last. That's the last one in our era for this particular time period in hip hop. And you know, Championships was up for a Grammy nomination. I think it is his magnum opus, is his best work. He was hungry coming out of jail, and he talked a lot about his pain, his experience. He talks about all that stuff on Championships. But then what he also did, what I thought was clever, Chuck, and you as a producer, come to it as listen to music from a different lens. I listen to it as a fan of the hip hop culture, but you listen to it from a different perspective as a producer. You listen to the beats, sounds, and rhythms. But talk to me about Championships. How's that talk to you as a producer about the music, the sonically? How's it resonate with you sonically? Like, and I'll think about some of the tracks just to reiterate your memory real quick. It's got the intro joint, Trauma, which is a sample of Getaway from Mobb Deep. On Me with Cardi B. Actually, Cardi B's dope song On Me is actually one of her best verses. What's Beat?
That song's fine.
What's Free featuring Jay-Z and Rick Ross. Respect the Game, which was with the Jay-Z sample, Championships type of song. Going Bad, I like that one with him and Drake. 24/7 with LMA, which was an R&B kind of track. So talk to me about that, man. Talk to me about that, Chuck, about the sonicness of Championships, of how you put that song together.
Well-rounded. It sounded like an album that, you know, he was supposed to make. It was a beautiful amount of work. It was well thought of. The beats were perfect. The transitions in the music were perfect. It was an album. It was actually the Meek Mill album that I can listen to all the way through.
Word.
You know, every artist that I respect has an album like Life After Death. Like, you know, for me, what was the album that Tupac had before All Eyes on Me? Me Against the World.
Me Against the World,
Me Against the World. That was an album I could listen to all the way through. It was the transitional point. You know what I'm saying? It was that transitional point where he felt the pain in what he was doing. He felt the pain of his wealth. He felt the pain of the people backstabbing him. He felt the pain of police brutality. He felt the pain of, he felt those pains that if Tupac would have lived farther than his age, to me, he gives me, and people may feel away by me saying this, but to me, he gives me young Pac vibes. He does. He gives me a Pac vibe. Like, had Pac lived on, Pac would have probably, you know what I'm saying, been, you know, because he had the movies and everything. Pac would have, but Meek Mill represents the closest to me that represents the, like, look, I don't give a fuck, you know, I don't care, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you, I ride bikes, I do this, I do that, and this is my life because they try to lock me down for so long, and they try to really pin, so I'm gonna show you what freedom look like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Championships represented, you know, co-signing by Hov. It was the co-signing by The Rock. It was the co-signing by everybody. Rick Ross, that was his pinnacle moment.
Yeah, I agree.
That was his moment where he was Meek Mill.
I agree.
You know
I agree, man. And
Real
the on the last song is called Cold Hearted 2. And one of the lines he says was Derrick Rose in the 50-point night. I think that pretty much culminates that whole entire album. You know, Derrick Rose going back and forth, being kicked around in the NBA, then he dropped 50 on him on one night. You know, like, and that's what Meek Mill feels like. And it goes exactly right into your point, Chuck. But Chuck, we gotta start wrapping things up, my brother. We gotta start wrapping things up. And how we have been doing that in all of season 5, the transformation of hip hop, the years of 2010 to 2019, is with a hands up, don't shoot salute to Daunte Wright, the young brother that we lost last year. So Chuck, if you could join me by putting your hands in the air for me one time, I'm going to say hands up. You're going to say don't shoot. We're going to repeat that chant 3 times to keep his life and memory alive and all the others that we have lost due to social injustice in the United States of America.
Yes, sir.
One time, hands up.
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot. Please don't shoot.
Rest in peace, Daunte. Rest in peace, man. And all the others we lost through the social injustice in the United States. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. I still seeing the stories come in, you know, on the news. We gotta get better, man. We gotta get better with this, man. But nonetheless, Chuck Platinum making his 5th appearance back for the first time this season, my brother. Always good to see my hip hop partner in rhyme, man. But Chuck, who your shout outs going to, family? Give me some shout outs for this week.
My shout outs, first of all, because I'm at my Mama Love house, man. Shout out to my mom, Dukes, you know, in the building, playing her music in the background. She playing the Meek Mill championships in the background. She's dope. She playing the Meek Mill classic. She went and looked for it and put that Meek Mill on there, man. Shout out to BACG. Shout out to my brother Prince Newkirk, Uptown Nation. Shout out to Death Row's Records. Shout out to everybody that support me. Shout out to all my fan base, man. Real talk. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Shout out to everybody that support the brand.
Word. Shout out to the whole camp, Chuck. Shout out to you. Shout out to Chuck's mom. Got the chance to meet Chuck's mom a little while ago. Shout out to my family as always, and all of our fans, followers, supporters. Hey, Mom, what's good? What's good, Mom? How you doing? Good to see you. Just gonna see everybody. Gonna see you. We love your son. He's a phenomenal talent. So I think you're raising such a phenomenal young man. He definitely deserves my praise to you, man. So I appreciate you. That's real. Bro. That's real. Man, shout out to family, shout out to health. And as always, you know, shout out to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So next week we're gonna be talking about the one and only DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled's next week. So you all stay safe, stay humble, stay hip hop. I'll see you next week. All right, 100. Peace.